The lavish gala sparkled with chandeliers, golden trays, and laughter from the richest in the city. Billionaire Richard Hale, known for his sharp suits and sharper business deals, sat at the center table, his plate brimming with delicacies that only the elite could afford. Cameras flashed as waiters in crisp uniforms weaved between tables, carrying silver platters of caviar, oysters, and wine older than most of the guests. As Richard reached for a bite of roasted lamb drizzled in truffle oil, a piercing voice cut through the hum of the orchestra. "Don't eat that!" The hall froze. Guests gasped and turned. At the far corner of the room, a boy stood barefoot, clothes torn, his face smeared with dirt. His eyes, however, burned with urgency. Security rushed forward, but the boy raised his trembling hands, shouting louder, "Please don't eat it! You don't know what's in there!" The billionaire's fork hovered inches from his mouth, his mind racing. Was this just another desperate beggar crashing the event? Or did this child know something that could shatter the entire night? Whispers rippled through the room. Reporters adjusted their cameras, and Richard, for the first time in years, hesitated. Something in the boy's voice wasn't madness, it was truth. But why would a homeless child care about what a billionaire ate? Richard Hale wasn't just wealthy. He was a symbol of dominance in the city. He owned skyscrapers, banks, and even the catering company running tonight's gala. For decades, he had built his empire with precision. But behind the polished smile lay a man hardened by betrayal and ruthless deals. To the world, he was untouchable. Yet on this night, fate had decided to test him. The gala was meant to celebrate his latest charitable initiative, a new foundation for feeding the poor. Cameras lined the walls, and every move he made was being broadcast live. To his peers, it was a PR stunt. To him, it was power. Meanwhile, across the city, 12-year-old Ethan rummaged through dumpsters for scraps. His mother had died of illness. His father had disappeared. And the boy had survived by his wits alone. Every day was a battle for food and safety. But Ethan carried one thing his ragged clothes couldn't hide: knowledge. He had once lived a better life, back when his father worked as a chef in luxury kitchens. He knew the smell of spoiled meat, the glint of a poisoned sauce, the hidden dangers no ordinary person could detect. That night, while scavenging near the back of the hotel, Ethan noticed a van unloading boxes. Something caught his eye, containers labeled with a brand he recognized, but the color on the label was wrong. His father had taught him that counterfeit ingredients often carried deadly risks. He followed the trail, sneaking past guards, slipping into the hall just as the dishes were being served. When he saw Richard Hale raise the fork, his heart thundered. He knew what would happen if that food was eaten. It wasn't just spoiled. It was laced with something far worse. And so he shouted. The guard seized Ethan instantly. "Get him out!" One barked, dragging the boy by his arms. Guests muttered angrily. Disgraceful. These people will do anything for attention. Who let him in here? Richard remained frozen, fork still raised. His instincts told him to dismiss the boy. After all, what could a filthy child possibly know? But there was something unsettling in Ethan's voice. "Stop!" Richard's tone silenced the guards. "Bring him here." Ethan struggled, eyes darting across the lavish hall. "Please, you can't eat it! The sauce, it's wrong! It's poisoned!" Laughter erupted. A man at the next table scoffed. "Poison? Ridiculous. Throw the boy out before he ruins the evening." Richard leaned forward, studying Ethan. "And how would you know that?" The boy swallowed hard. "Because I've seen it before. My dad was a chef. That label on the box," he pointed toward the catering door, "it's fake. They use cheap chemicals to stretch the food, and sometimes it turns deadly. Smell it, the sauce isn't right." The room fell silent again. Richard, curious, lifted the fork closer to his nose. The aroma was rich, earthy, but beneath it lingered something faintly sour. He frowned. The head chef hurried forward, sweat on his brow. "Mr. Hale, I assure you, everything is safe." "This child is lying!" But Ethan's voice cracked with desperation. "I swear on my mom's grave, I'm not lying, please!" The guests shifted uncomfortably. The tension was thick now. Was this a stunt? Or was the boy saving the billionaire from disaster? Richard's eyes narrowed. He had faced boardroom betrayals, lawsuits, and political scandals, but never had a barefoot child threatened to derail his empire in front of the entire city. Still, something deep inside whispered, what if he's telling the truth? Richard set down his fork, ignoring the irritated murmurs around him. Bring the boy forward, he ordered. The guards hesitated but obeyed. Ethan, trembling but unbroken, stood before the billionaire. His dirty hands clenched at his sides, his voice still urgent. Please, sir, don't let them eat it. It's not just spoiled, it's dangerous. The chef interjected, his face flushed. This is absurd. Mr. Hale, this boy is deranged. He has no place here. Richard raised an eyebrow. If you're so confident, chef, why do you look nervous? A hush fell. The chef stammered, I'm not nervous. It's just, this is outrageous. Then taste it yourself, Richard said calmly, sliding the plate toward him. The chef froze. His hands twitched but didn't move. Ethan's eyes locked on Richard. See, he won't do it. Gasps erupted around the room. Reporters leaned forward, cameras flashing. The billionaire stood, lifting the plate for all to see. If this food is poisoned, Richard said, his voice steady, then this event, this company, and my reputation have been compromised. He glanced toward Ethan. Boy, tell me exactly what you saw. Ethan took a shaky breath. The labels on the boxes, they were the wrong shade. My dad told me counterfeit suppliers use chemicals. One wrong batch and it can kill. I saw men unload it tonight. Richard's mind raced. He had spent decades building an empire. One scandal like this could destroy him. And if this boy was right, it wasn't just his image at risk. Dozens of guests, powerful figures could die. He turned to security. Lock the kitchen. Nobody leaves. Chaos erupted. Guests rose in alarm, demanding answers. The head chef tried to slip away, but guards grabbed him. His face drained of color. Richard stepped closer, his voice like steel. What have you done? The chef broke, collapsing to his knees. It wasn't me, it was the supplier. They paid me off to cut costs. I didn't think it would go this far. Shockwaves rippled through the hall. The richest men and women in the city stared in horror, realizing they had been one bite away from disaster. And at the center of it all stood Ethan, the homeless boy who had just saved them. Richard stared at Ethan, the boy's chest rising and falling as if he'd just fought a war. For the first time in years, the billionaire felt something stir inside him. Respect. The police arrived swiftly, hauling the chef and his accomplices away. The poisoned food was tested on the spot. Ethan had been right. The dishes carried toxins that could have hospitalized or even killed half the room. Guests murmured in disbelief. That boy saved us. We could have all been dead. How did he even know? Richard stepped forward, resting a hand on Ethan's shoulder. You just saved my life, he said quietly, but loud enough for the crowd to hear. Tears welled in the boy's eyes. I couldn't let anyone get hurt. Not again. Richard tilted his head. Not again? Ethan's voice trembled. My mom, she ate bad food once. From the same fake supplier. She never woke up. His throat tightened. I swore I'd never let it happen to anyone else. The hall went silent. Even the most hardened executives lowered their heads. Richard, a man known for his icy heart, felt a lump in his throat. He straightened, facing the cameras. Tonight we learned something. Wealth means nothing if we lose our humanity. This boy, with nothing to his name, has shown more courage and integrity than most men I've ever met. He turned back to Ethan. From this day forward, you're not homeless. You're under my care. You'll have food, shelter, and education. You'll never have to shout from the shadows again. Ethan's eyes widened, tears streaking his dirty face. You mean, you'd help me? Richard nodded firmly. No, Ethan, you helped me. You reminded me what matters. The hall erupted in applause. Reporters rushed to capture the moment, an image that would soon flood headlines. Homeless boy saves billionaire's life. In the days that followed, Richard launched an investigation into the corrupt supplier, exposing a massive scandal that shook the industry. But more importantly, he adopted Ethan into his foundation, giving him the chance to rebuild his life. And so, a barefoot boy's desperate cry not only saved lives, but also melted the heart of a man who thought he had everything. That night, the city learned a lesson they would never forget. True worth isn't measured by wealth, but by courage. As Richard often repeated in interviews afterward, that day, I learned never to judge someone by their clothes or their circumstances, because the voice of truth can come from anyone, even a child in rags. And what would you do if a homeless child tried to stop you like this? Would you believe him or would you ignore him?